The following program was paid for by Real Estate Radio Network. The hosts are not an employee of WMTR or its parent company, Greater Media. The views and opinions expressed on the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. Station management has not investigated the claims made in financial service spots that may air during this program. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major financial decision. You're listening to The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey on 1250 AM WMTR. Now, your hosts, local credit experts Damon DeCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan.
Good morning, Northern Jersey. This is The Credit Pros. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Damon and I are safe here in the studio while the world is at war. Japan's radiated. Say hello, Damon.
Hello, Damon. For those who don't know, the Credit Pros, Jason and myself, we're a firm that is exclusively geared toward helping you, our client, with your credit problems, with your finance problems, with your money opportunities. Here in New Jersey, there are a million different opportunities, and we try to get good advice to you so you can take advantage of them. If you want to give us a ring on our off-air line, or also I think we're going to be taking some calls today, call the Credit Pros now, 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118. Or if you want to hit us on an email or on the web, it's creditrepair.to. Thanks again for joining us. We have a lot of awesome content packed into this next hour. We're going to blow through as much as we can, write it down, and if you ever have any questions about what we're talking about, pick up the phone and give us a ring. We're very fortunate to have in studio with us mortgage expert. And a lot of people out there are thinking about mortgages. Now is the time to do it. So we went out, we found the best person to be able to give our listeners real world advice. Jackie Koven from eMortgage Management. Say hi, Jackie.
Hi.
Wonderful to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us. Jason, what do we have on tap today?
Well, we're going to go over a couple things. I thought our theme today would be divorce. So I thought we'd talk about some misconceptions when people go through a divorce, what things to look out for as far as finances go in preparing for that separation. And we'll talk about some credit true and false and some what they don't want you to know that have to kind of deal on those same topics, because there's a myriad of different topics that come out of a divorce and separation of finances, and time and time again, everyone makes the same mistakes.
It's true. I'm going to start by saying, before we even get into divorce, I'm going to start by saying I am not going through a divorce, and I love my wife. And Jackie, I know you're married too, and I'm sure you love your husband.
Yes.
Jason, you really don't know what we're talking about because you need to get to the point of getting married first to be able to think about getting divorced.
I'm almost there. I'm thinking about it.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I hope Sarah doesn't listen to this radio
Sarah,
show.
if you're
It'll
listening,
surprise her.
I'm going to send her a link to this. She can go out shop herself a ring. So we, in this business, in the credit repair business, we go through, we get some questions more than others, obviously, as most businesses do. And the idea and the problems that stem from divorce are recurring problems. And I think that there's a lot of misconceptions out there, not only about what people need to go through to obtain a divorce and what happens after, but particularly about their credit. So the reason why Jason and I are talking about this is because we wound up getting an email this week, as we normally do, and one of our clients, and this is a local client, had a couple of questions about the way that their credit is being affected. Should I read it? I might as well just read the letter.
You can be part of it, sure.
Sure. So, our client, of course I'm not going to name their name, said, I'm going through a divorce and I didn't see it coming. My husband's financial plan is to have me leave the house and get a place somewhere else while a process of divorce is going on. After which he wants to keep the house long enough to stay there and make no payments, then walk away from it when the bank throws him out in the foreclosure process. The house was foreclosed on to begin with, and we had to fix it, and there's many problems there. So with both our names on the title, this will mess both our credits up, even though we had a bankruptcy in 2002. And I can't qualify for a refinance, and this is where it starts to get to a run-on sentence. That's me interjecting. I won't qualify to refinance and get his name off the title in a current condition. We can't really sell the house. I don't have a lot of bills, but I only have a $3,000 student loan, $1,000 personal loan, and $5,000 vehicle loan. Should I declare bankruptcy? What do I do? Help, help, help! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Counselor?
And that's when I tell them to call in, because to type an answer like that would take a million years. But
Right.
The first thing we speak about, and I think Jackie can talk to to this as well, is if you're going to be separating, especially in this woman's condition, you're not going to be able to refinance because not only do they base things on credit score, but you have to be able to afford your house, correct? Right. What is the debt to income ratio typically for financing?
You typically have to have under a 50% debt to income ratio.
Okay. And this woman definitely did not qualify for what her mortgage payments would be also. And the scary thing is, in the email, she also brought up the B word, bankruptcy. Typically, I would never tell anyone to declare bankruptcy, especially someone who only has about $12,000 in non-mortgage debt. Okay? Bankruptcy is a viable option, but most people don't realize you're probably not going to qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy in situations and circumstances like this. You know, it's not a get-out-of-jail-free card. The banks have to make a risk assessment as to what you can afford to pay back and what you can't. And people all the time are denied being able to file for bankruptcy. When you get into a situation like this in a circumstance, it's pretty common and typical to start panicking that the marriage is falling apart. What am I supposed to do? First off, and this goes to my client, husband or the other spouse can't force you to move out of the home during a divorce.
He can ask.
He can ask, and he can ask very convincingly, and he can do things to try to make you want to leave.
Which is why you're getting a divorce in the first place.
Obviously, but he can't make you move out. So in this woman's situation, I would typically tell her to look and see if there's equity in the home, if this is actually a marital asset that can be sold or even gotten rid of in a short sale. You can stay there for a long period of time without paying the rent, the mortgage, and then when they get to the foreclosure process, you can file the bankruptcy to delay that and stay in there longer for free. But your credit-wise, it's going to absolutely destroy you.
Yeah, I think it's important to say again that your husband can't tell you to leave your house and you have to listen. But another thing to consider is if there's equity, and there usually is in these kind of situations, you need to understand your options. We always talk about it. It's about your options. And I think, if I could just throw in here, a lot of bankruptcy attorneys are not always as forthcoming as they should be. You're sitting knee to knee with them. He says, hey, give me my $599 and let me get your divorce done. And everything else is your problem. In reality, he's right, it is your problem, but the reason why you're getting an attorney is hopefully to get real advice. And if they're not giving you real advice, then perhaps you should be speaking with another attorney. If you're going through a divorce and the attorney that you're working with is not giving you good advice, I promise you, I can give you a better divorce attorney. Give me a call personally, 973-771-5118. I will give it to you myself. But it sort of leads us into, I'm sorry, Jason, was there anything else you wanted to add on the answer to this woman?
Well, it's just the idea, if you're in a situation where there's going to be marital assets that you're dividing up, just because the husband doesn't want to go and dip into the bank account for the next few months, which should be joint, by the way, so you have access to that money as well, doesn't mean you have to get foreclosed on the house. There's a risk asset analysis that you might want to take into play. So if you're going to be diving up marital assets, you might want to take that $150,000 house instead of taking the 3 cars in the bank account with $20,000 in it.
Yeah, it's 100% important. That's in our list. Jason and I put together a list, right? We have a list of the 6 financial mistakes you want to avoid in divorce. This question led us to our list. Let's talk about our list. You're giving the store away, Jason. Don't give the store away. If you're just joining us, this is the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio Network. You're listening to credit expert attorney Jason Kaplan. If you want to speak with him about your credit, your finances, your problems, pick up the phone and give him a call. Number's 1-800-411-3050, sorry. 1-800-411-3050, or locally 973-771-5118. I had a lot of Red Bull today. That's the problem. So let's dive in. Staying with the idea of divorce, what's the first financial mistake we want our clients to avoid?
I'm going to go to number 5, so we're going to go a little bit of order since we were talking
Jason?
about it.
Stay in order. You want to stay in order?
Well, we were talking about it already, so I might as well continue on it. Don't believe that all assets are created equal. A $30,000 bank account has a lot more value to it than a $35,000, $40,000 car. Car's a depreciating asset. If you have a nice car, you're going to have nice insurance. If you don't have the nice insurance, you're going to pay for it when you need to get the car fixed because it's not insured. The deductible is going to be large. You got to pay for gas. So sometimes the $30,000 bank account is a lot better than even a $50,000 car.
Or sometimes the $30,000 investment, if it's not a liquid investment, then you have to pay capital gains on, isn't as good as it seems too.
Absolutely. You might look at the house that has $150,000 in equity, just to keep numbers, easy to talk about. That house comes with certain risks and expenses. You have property taxes that are raising up. The environment for selling your home sometimes might not be as good as it used to be in certain areas of the of New Jersey.
Got to pay the maid.
You got to pay the housekeeper, pay the taxes. So things are going up. I'll give you an example. My parents, they're older now, but they actually just dropped their insurance on their house, and they live in Florida, so windstorm's so expensive because in order for them to renew their policy this year, the insurance company was telling them they had to take out all of their windows and put in new storm-proof windows.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But on something like that, depending on the size of your house, if you live in Florida, it's going to cost my parents $25,000 to do it to get insurance. So they thought they might as well roll the dice, because even if you get the insurance, the deductibles are going to be so large. Can you really use that insurance policy if a hurricane does hit?
My luck, next year, hurricanes batting down the door. That would be my luck.
That would be exactly. But the point is, there's so many factors involved in determining what is a more valuable asset.
Yeah.
You don't want to just blindly say 50 is more than 30, because it doesn't work out that way.
So as an attorney, Jason, I don't know because I'm not a lawyer, but as an attorney, who should be giving the client that advice? Because that's advice that someone should be getting from an attorney.
Absolutely. Well, an attorney who's been doing divorce,
but
or
they're a bankruptcy attorney, right? I mean, their bankruptcy attorney is supposed to be giving that to them, right?
Well, a bankruptcy attorney is not going to give advice on a divorce. Do you mean divorce attorney?
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
It's too much Red Bull today.
That's okay. Your divorce attorney should give you some of that advice. Absolutely. A lot of people go out and get a separate financial audit throughout the process of the divorce.
That one. I think that's a good idea.
And that way you have a third-party individual who specializes in assets. And there's certain financial advisors that specialize more so in assets being divided during a divorce.
Yeah,
so that you can get the proper
If
analysis.
you're speaking with one, make sure that he is looking out for your best interests, not your husband's best interests, because there could be some sort of a conflict of interest there. If you're just joining us, this is the Credit Pros, and we would love to speak with you if you have any questions about your credit, about your finances, about real estate, or if you just want to chat about the weather. Our number is 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118, or on the web at creditrepair.to. Here's one that I like, and I think is really important. The second financial mistake we want you to avoid in a divorce: don't try to get even. It's not going to get you anywhere to exact financial revenge on someone that you're still attached to the hip to. In most cases, you will really wind up screwing yourself. And if you don't believe me, think about it for a second. If you're saying, well, I'm not going to pay these credit cards because screw him, he don't deserve to charge money up on my credit card anyway. Well, it's still your credit card, right? Mm-hmm. People see this all the time. There is an easier way to do it. It's difficult to say, and because I know a lot of people don't think this way, but you should be going into a divorce detached from the emotional feelings that go along with the divorce. That's the best way to go about doing it, to have an even-keeled head, to look at things a little bit objectively. I know it's near impossible, but that's the best way to do it. Absolutely. And when you try to exact revenge, it just causes more problems anyway, such as higher attorney's fees because you guys are fighting over the last dish in the cupboard. Right. And grandma's china. Grandma's china, exactly. So, attorneys sometimes like it when you fight tooth and nail over everything, but sometimes you have to pick your battles. Here's one, and this is one that's so blatantly obvious, and it just kills me that people do this. Maintaining joint credit. The idea is, upon divorce, you should do everything you can do to remove yourself from joint credit, because even through the divorce, you're still jointly liable if you've both signed. If you both have signed on a credit card, divorce or no divorce, you're both equally responsible for it. And I think that there was some good advice here, Jason. You brought it up. How do you get yourself out of that credit card situation? Then maybe you pay off that joint credit card and close it and do a balance transfer onto one of your other credit cards.
Absolutely. There's a lot of ways to do it. Sometimes it's also good to think ahead. Maybe when you're planning on filing for that divorce, if you have a spouse who you think might not be so cooperative, take them off as an authorized user, take yourself off the card, plan ahead a little bit. It's not that difficult to separate your assets when you're dealing with unsecured debt like credit cards. And cars are a different story, and houses are a different story, but you might want to plan ahead a little bit.
Here's something that here's an advanced tip for those that really want to be cautious. If you're going through a divorce, I suggest you put a security freeze on your credit, because if your husband or wife's credit is not so good, they may say, let me hurry up and get a joint credit card now before this divorce goes through, and get that joint credit card and throw it in my pocket so that this way when the divorce does go through, I can actually keep it. If you have a security freeze on your credit report, then that can't happen. They can't run your credit and they can't open up an account without you knowing it. So you're sort of protecting yourself in that regard.
Absolutely. We see it all the time when there's spouses, because they know all your information. They know your date of birth. They know your social security number. Of course, they know your address and stuff. And there's spouses all the time that, not only in anticipation of divorce, but they'll open up accounts and not tell the other.
And here's and this is the last one we'll talk before the break, but this is an important one, and I think that it gets spoken about by divorce attorneys particularly. But overestimating the power of a divorce decree, number 3. Mm-hmm. A divorce decree does not indemnify you of the liabilities that you've put yourself into. You sign your name to a piece of paper that says you are responsible for a debt, and no judge's decree can release you from that. And Jason can attest to it. I didn't know that. For years I thought that because a judge said that you're divorced and this person's liable for that and this person's liable for that, well, then that goes.
Yeah, no, what happens is you can get indemnified. So if you default on a loan, for example, or a credit card, and the other person was supposed to pay it, they can still come after both of you, because you can't put the bank in a worse situation because you didn't get along in your marriage. The bank didn't lend on the assumption that you guys will stay together. They lent on your credit worthiness. But for example, the divorce decree will come into play where if you get sued for something and have to pay something off to protect your credit, you can go after the other spouse for that money you had to pay if the divorce decree says they're responsible. It's indemnification as opposed to taking responsibility for the action.
Thank you, Counselor. That is real-world advice for you, my listener friends. If you're just joining us, I'm going to want you to stick around. This is the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio Network. Our number is 973-771-5118. After the break, if you are a young professional, we have the 10 credit commandments. It sounds like a rap song. The 10 credit commandments that you need to pay attention to. You will not want to miss it, because there is some real stuff here that's going to save you some money in the long haul. So stick around after the break. This is the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio Network. Give us a call, 973-771-5118, 973-771-5118, or on the web at creditrepair.to. Thanks.
For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118. This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Hello, Jason Kaplan here, host of the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey. I'm thrilled that I get to speak to you every week and bring you the truths about your credit. A lot of stuff you hear in the news is just flat out wrong. If you want the inside knowledge about what's going on with your credit, that's what I'm here for. Give me a call at 973-771-5118. That's 973-771-5118. Whether you're looking to buy a home, get a job, apply for car insurance, your credit's the most important factor in these decisions. I can help you make an educated decision about what's going on and what's best for you and your family. It's easy. I give you the real facts and you decide what to do from there. Just give me a call. I'm here to help. 973-771-5118. That's 973-771-5118. Or visit us online at creditrepair.to. Thank you for listening, And we'll be back from the break soon.
For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118.